everyone, and welcome back to my podcast. This is Up in the Clouds. Hello, reporting from my new bedroom in my new state, in my new home in Colorado. So I did the last episode, took some time off, and I celebrated. I worked like 50 hours, 53, I think, 50 or something, my last week of work, and then I had to like celebrate my birthday with my family and then my friends, and then all in between while trying to pack for moving across the country. So that was quite a rough week, and then moved and just been just been settling in and unpacking and decorating, as you can see behind me, which as I said in the birthday vlog, once I get done with everything, I will do a room/apartment tour, just kind of give you guys, like, show you around. And I'm just very, very so happy with this place. It's probably like one of the best places, one of my favorite places I've lived in, like apartment style wise, since Whitewater, like when I first started this podcast, and I was in that one bedroom by myself, and it had so much space, and I just felt so at home there. And that's kind of the exact feeling I feel here, which is an interesting parallel, because the girl that I'm working towards becoming, or like admiring, is my old self, and kind of embodying who I was like when I first started this podcast. So I feel like the parallels between that being my last place that I loved so much to this being a new place that I love just about as equally as there, I feel like is a beautiful parallel into stepping into this new era and stepping into this new chapter in my life, but still like reflecting on like admiring an older version of myself, instead of like, I feel like I've always admired like other people, or like put other people on a pedestal, or like wanted to be like someone else. So to finally step into my full self and feel so good in myself, that I'm like, when I'm looking at what I want to change and what I want to work towards, and I'm admiring a past version of myself, which is me. So I think that's a beautiful step into like where I'm at, like confidence wise, and learning just to be more rooted in self and to feel good with self, you know. And that comes with a lot of work that I've done, and I feel like this is the biggest reward for all the work that I've done, being here, living here. I feel like I got really emotional when I was leaving, so I kind of want to talk about that with like the change and saying goodbye, which I did kind of touch on in my birthday vlog, if you guys watched that. But if you didn't, I'll kind of like recap a little bit. Basically, in my birthday vlog, I was having a really hard time saying goodbye. I was having a really hard time I've never had a good goodbye somewhere. I feel like everywhere that I've left previously has been either I'm so over living there. I'm so like ready for a new something. It's more like a FU to either people or just something that happened there, right? So to leave a place in a good place is something that was very challenging for me. I almost, like, I'm not gonna lie, I really like almost maybe like didn't come. I think I thought about bailing like a lot. Mainly because I just kind of felt like so comfortable with my family being so close. I had really developed some really good friendships over the past couple months that I did not expect. Just feeling comfortable at my job, and just feeling, just like I said, very comfortable in where I was, that this was a very like uncomfortable move for me. In like, as in like a chess piece move, but also this was like one of the hardest moves I've ever had to do. But now that I'm here, and now that I'm like getting settled, and I'm like, you know, feeling I am so grateful that I did not let my fear and my fear of change, my fear of like comfortability, ruin something that I've wanted for so long, that was literally like laid in front of me on a gold platter. Something that I've wanted forever, that just was too perfect to pass up. And like, something I've dreamed of almost get ruined by fear and whatnot. But I feel like everyone who goes through a big move like that does, go through, like, am I doing, what am I doing the right thing? Is this going to be good for me? Am I going to be as happy as I feel, as I pictured, as I imagined? And now that I'm here, and now that I'm like I said, settled, I'm so, so, so grateful for whoever I have up there. I know not whoever, for who I have up there, who gave me the courage to stick this through and not bail, and to give me the courage to take this leap of faith in myself that I've always had, knowing that this is my place, knowing that this is where I belong. And my roommate was very welcoming. She made a whole little welcome basket / birthday basket for me, got me some crafts, bunch of snacks, got me some cat toys for my little baby boy, and and just being so welcoming, put some sheets on my bed so I didn't have to dig up sheets when we got in, and just set up towels and shower set, just the type of person that when you're moving across the country, this is the type of person you want in your corner. She made the move so easy, and so just gave me so much I don't want to say reassurance, because that's not the right word, but so much a little safety net. I felt so safe coming here. I felt so safe coming into this home that it was I'm sorry, I'm stuttering. The type of, like I said, the type of person you want in your corner, and the type of person who really also was a big part of the encouraging the change and the leap. And also my good friend Jules, who just also moved across the country as well a couple months prior, not even, in February, I think she moved, and she was a big help too. I kind of called her for comfort a lot, and she really was such a rock. So shout out Mads, my roommate, and shout out Jules for being so amazing and being so loving and just so helpful during this. I feel like if I did not have those two people so in my corner, and so encouraging, and so a rock and a safety net for me, I don't know if I would have done it. I feel like I would have backed out, honestly, because I really was so sad and so confused and so just unsure if what if I got here and I hated it, or what if I got here and it didn't feel how every time I visited here, I felt a certain type of way, right? So I was what if I came all this way here and then I didn't feel that way, So I really was just so scared, but I am so glad I did it. Not too sure about my job though. I started yesterday, and it was not a good first day. So kind of just gonna stick it through, because at least it's a job for right now. But if it kind of feels the same way in a month, definitely gonna start looking, because I feel I don't know. I don't want to trash too, but it wasn't just a rough first day. And I feel because I'm a transfer, I feel they kind of didn't do what they normally do for people, because I know everything about the restaurant, but also their restaurant is set up so differently. Everything is very the whole restaurant is different in itself, where things are, how it's set up, things that they do is just, it's a different store, different people, so or different restaurant, different people, different managers, so the flow is very different. And I feel they just threw me to the fire, and I was kind of what the fuck. So hopefully I either just get used to it or something better comes along, because I don't know. I think a bad first day is never kind of oh, do I want to work here, so kind of makes you reevaluate. So I don't know. It's a job for right now, so I'm grateful for that. It's money coming in. It's an income. So as of right now, that's, you know, I'm gonna kind of give it more of a chance. Maybe like I said, maybe a month. That's kind of it for life updates. I'm really excited to kind of finish. I have a book. I'm on my Bob the Builder shit. I built a TV, like a cube organizer that was like also doubles as my TV stand. And then today, after this podcast, I'm gonna be building a bookshelf for all my extra books and like my crystals and like my little like witchy like setup that I do, my incense and my candles and, you know, all that stuff. So yeah, I actually was gonna, and you know what's funny, I was gonna buy like a side table and a bookshelf, and then I was looking at the bookshelf and I was like, I could put my little like, it's not an altar, but like a little like my little witchy area on top of the bookshelf. I'm like, well, I could save my money and not even buy a side table. So that was really cool. I like the city that I live in too. I'm like 20 minutes, depending on where in Denver you're going, 20 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes away from everything. And I feel like I'm in such a good area. There's just like a lot around me. I'm like in a little suburby area, so there's a lot of restaurants, like everything you could think of, like a Home Depot, Target, Walmart, like that type of stuff too, along with like a bunch of food places and just a lot of stuff around me. So I feel I love the city that I'm living in. I love this, and my apartment's really nice. I have a pool and a fitness center, which is something I've always wanted in an apartment. So love that. I have my own bathroom, which is something so small, but so like nice after living with roommates I mean, I still have a roommate, but since the last time I did have my own bathroom to now, the people that I've lived with and had to share a bathroom with, and just the disgustingness of having to share a bathroom is like, and not saying everyone's disgusting, but I just unfortunately got like a lot of like back to back like nasty people that like they just were gross and like didn't clean properly or very well, or just, or like before my last roommate, I lived with a couple, so like the guy was really it's just very like no negativity in this video, really trying. Very just very grateful to have my own bathroom and a little bathtub. It's a huge bathtub, which you guys will see in the room tour. And yeah, there's just like so many, my room is very like such a good size. My closet's really big. And yeah, I have so much space still, so I have to, which will be fun because like every Halloween I like to buy new decor. That's kind of like the only time I can really find stuff that matches like my aesthetic. So once Halloween comes around, I have so much like wall space to kind of fill in all these gaps with new stuff. So I'm really excited for that. But yeah, that's about it for the life update for right now. And today's topic that I'm going to talk about. So when I first started this podcast, if you guys have been a long time listener, or if you're a new listener here, when I first started, I talked about a lot of the mental health diagnoses that I was diagnosed with. I kind of talked about a little bit about each thing, kind of like some facts about the disorders or whatever I had like facts about. And I kind of want to like tap back into that for a moment because I had recently discovered something in the past couple months. I got recently diagnosed with something, and it's actually very frequently misdiagnosed or missed while you're in therapy or you're getting evaluated or whatever. So when I got put on meds a few months ago for my anxiety, turns out I have had OCD, which is, if you guys, I mean, most people know, but it's obsessive compulsive disorder. There's a lot of, so I'm going to kind of talk about that. I'm going to kind of talk about since finding out my diagnosis and kind of, and how meds have helped that like so much, where I didn't even know how much my life was affected by my OCD until I was on meds, until I kind of like really did my digging and like realized what was going on like in my head and how it stopped a lot of it, which has been so I cannot tell you how amazing it's been to not be like so ruminating and so stuck in my brain and so stuck in my thoughts and so consumed. So gonna kind of go over the basics, then the facts about OCD and kind of like my experience that I dealt with, and then meds of it all, like how I've and like where I'm at with it. OCD is a chronic mental health condition which is characterized by uncontrollable reoccurring thoughts and repetitive behaviors. It affects 1 in 40 adults. It is an anxiety disorder that is frequently misdiagnosed or just missed in general. Like I have been diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder and panic attack disorder. That was like when I first started on this journey of like, you know, getting better. And I had never gotten to like that where it was like, oh, you know, I had spoken about my like thoughts before, like the repetitive like ruminating thoughts that I would deal with, but it never got taken past like anxiety. And so when I had done this new like evaluation and I had mentioned about reoccurring like thoughts that I could not stop, like obsessive compulsive thoughts, and my ruminating, and how when I like feel a thought, it's so hard to, it was, now I don't really deal with it too much anymore, which is so nice. But how it was like so debilitating and so like almost like life destroying. Like if I was like obsessively compulsed on a thought, it was so hard to focus on anything and so hard to like do anything. It was hard to like work. It was hard to focus on anything besides what that thought was. So when I did this evaluation to get on meds this past time, a couple months ago, actually almost a year ago, that's crazy. Something came up in one of my answers, and then I ended up taking another evaluation for OCD, past the evaluation or whatever you want to call it, like past the evaluation, like basically they're like, you have OCD. Have you ever been diagnosed with OCD? No. It's commonly, you know, misdiagnosed or commonly missed, or just kind of like they're so focused on like generalized anxiety that they never like go into like the subtypes of it, which it is an anxiety disorder that like, you know, but there's different subtypes of it as well. So I feel like when people think OCD, they think of orderly, which that is a subtype. It's like symmetry and ordering. So it's like things need to be in place. So that is a subtype, but it's not the only type of OCD. The contamination one, which is the cleansing, which is also one I feel like people like mainly think of. They think of like putting things in order, how things need to be in a spot. And then the contamination of it all, which is like the washing hands, like, you know, this is like 5 times, or like needing to wipe down the door handle, or like those like things. But also contamination can like be like say you walk into a, like, you know, I don't want to say this wrong. So just like contamination, like of like you're around people who are sick, and like there's like obsessively being like, oh my God, I was in the same room as this person. And then like you're like overthinking about like contamination stuff. So that's one. And then harm OCD, which is like more of a violent one, where you have like uncontrollable thoughts of violence. Intrusive thoughts, which kind of falls back into the harm one, where it's like uncontrollable thoughts that around like violence, or like, could I do this? Could I do that? What if I did this? Or what if I did, you know, it's like thinking the worst about yourself in a way. And then there's relationship OCD, which I have suffered from my whole life, that I did not even know about, that I wish I would have known about so many years ago, because I feel like that would have helped me in relationships. But now that I do know about it, and now that I'm self-aware, my next relationship, now I don't really have the thoughts anymore, but being aware is the first step to fixing things, right? So if I had been aware of this like so many years ago, but it wasn't meant to be, so it's fine. But I probably would have not destroyed my 2 longest long-term relationships had I not had known about relationship OCD, and basically like overthinking like things about your partner, and like overthinking, like constantly needing reassurance from your partner, and just like constantly thinking your partner's gonna cheat, and like ruminating on that. So like, oh my God, they haven't answered me in an hour, they're cheating, oh my God, they haven't done this, like the point where it's like my 2 most long-term relationships, I definitely was a main reason why they didn't work out, because that like obsessive need for constant reassurance is draining. And I can admit and self-reflect that I was probably very draining for those two men. They're very like nonchalant, chill. And I also just learned that I need someone a little more chalant. I need someone a little more like not so nonchalant, which is like, even with healing my not healing, I feel like it's like a disorder that kind of just doesn't really go away. It's just like how you manage it. So and I also found out talk therapy does not really work very well for OCD, which makes sense why regular therapy has never worked for me. Like, never made me feel good, where I felt like, oh my God, I feel so much better after talking. Like, it's like that. And it makes so much sense because therapy is not recommended for OCD. And a lot of the times it does not work for people with OCD. And I feel like I read about that it can maybe even make things worse, which makes sense, because every time I felt like I had been in real therapy, it never helped me. It only made everything feel worse. And every time I would leave the therapist's office, I would feel worse. So like, that goes back to the misdiagnosing of it all, where it's like, everyone's like, you need therapy, you need this, and I do it, and then I'm like, it's not helping me, it's not making me feel better. Turns out it's because of my misdiagnosis, or just not I don't mean like miss as in like they diagnosed me wrong. I mean as in literally missed this diagnosis that I've had would have done me so much good had I known about this literally like years and years and years and years and years ago. It's crazy when you do discover something new about yourself, or something that has been missed for so long, that it really changes, self. And so now that I can do all this work, I feel like when I find that, my person, obviously there's something that I just naturally want somebody who is more chalant and not so nonchalant. I definitely just want someone who's more expressive. I feel like I constantly and I'm trying to unattract this. The last few guys I've been in relationships with are so unexpressive. I feel like they are expressive in the beginning, and then they just kind of stop. So I need someone who's consistently, and someone who's almost stable in a way where they're consistent with how they treat me. I need not praise, but I need expressal love. I'm very expressive with my love, so I feel like I need somebody who gives that back. And when I sat and thought about what is my love language, I realized I embody all the love languages because I am an embodiment of love. I just love so deeply and so so intensely. And so I need that back. I need the next relationship to have that back. And I feel like that's why my last relationship did not work out, because in the beginning he was super expressive and he kind of matched my energy, but then he kind of just stopped and just out of nowhere never complimented me anymore. I had to almost beg for it. Stopped just expressing feelings and love, and then was that was never me. I just did that. Basically he didn't say it like that, but basically was I did that to almost to get me. And he's that was me. That was never me. I was never. And so I feel like I fell in love with someone that was not real in a way. I feel like everything that was real between us was real and our relationship was real, but when you say you were doing something that's out of character, that was not you, you're not expressive, you're not emotionally like that, you aren't complimentary, it kind of bamboozles you in a way. And so I realized that I just got to make sure that okay, like this for like my next relationship is that way, but is gonna stay that way, like because I am that way, and I just need it back. I feel like that also played a factor into the relationship OCD and why it got so bad with that relationship and the prior relationship, because my prior long-term relationship before that was the same, but he was never expressive the whole time. I just kind of felt like I wanted it so badly that I kind of like was like, oh, okay, you're not expressive, that's cool, maybe I can make you expressive. So trying to change somebody into something they're not, it doesn't ever work. If a guy is not expressive or very like emotional to begin with, nothing's going to change. You kind of have to like not feel like, oh, once they fall in love with me, or once they do like, or maybe once this or that if they're never like that in the beginning, they're never going to be like that. But it sucks when they are like that in the beginning and then they change, because then you're like, what? You kind of like it that in my last relationship, my like one from like that I ended like maybe less than a year ago, because that one ended like last summer, but then we kind of were like off and on and like officially ended in February, like done, have not talked to him since. And like that one was when he switched up like that relationship OCD got triggered so badly, because I was like, there has to be someone else, because he's so different, he's not the same person. And my brain like could not comprehend that was never him. Like he was putting on, and I'm not trying to be rude or mean, because like there's no like bad energy or no like negativity toward him, but like putting on a show to kind of like get me. And then once then I don't know if this is true, this is kind of like what I've gathered from like thinking, and once he got me, he felt like he didn't need to do that stuff anymore. But that's what triggered my relationship OCD super bad in that relationship. So I was constantly thinking he was cheating. I was constantly thinking he was finding other people. And like there was a lot of issues with social media that I won't get into because I'll get heated. And I don't want any, like I said, there's no negativity. There's no, we just weren't right for each other. And that's okay. You can have good, like I feel like all my exes besides him that I'm really trying, always hated all of my exes. And like, I'm really trying to not, because there's nothing really like to hate about him. We just weren't compatible. Like that's all it came down to. And like he did, even though my brain was convincing me like he did not cheat on me, we had issues with like micro cheating in social media, because I believe like social media, people have different beliefs, which also created a lot of issues. So with social media, like I thought he was like micro cheating on me, and he did not think of that as cheating, or micro cheating, or did not understand the concept, whatever. He didn't physically cheat on me, I guess I should say. So there's no like and like I'm so like at peace with our ending that like there's no negativity. Like there's no reason to hate him besides the fact of, so I'm trying very hard, because all my other exes, like I had to hate them. And like, so I don't mean this in a negative way, but yeah, just kind of like putting on a front that was not really you, and then feeling like, oh, I don't have to do that anymore. And it kind of like created a lot of issues. So I think to help, like, while I'm also working through, now that like once I'm aware, like the same thing when I got my like BPD diagnosis, once I was aware, it was a lot easier to heal, because like when I was so unaware of it for so long that I did not know that was what it was, or that was what it stemmed from, or like I had a subtype of OCD or whatever, or that I had OCD in general. And to be able to learn about it and read about it and know and finally like discover, okay, that makes sense why talk therapy hasn't worked. That makes sense why I needed something else. And now maybe finding that other thing and learning solutions. But also, what I will get to eventually, being on meds has helped so much that I don't ruminate anymore. I don't have those thoughts. So I also wonder if like, I mean, I've already kind of made up my mind that I don't want to be with a nonchalant person ever again. Like I need someone very chalant, and I need someone very like, who's a lot like me. But like, I don't even know if chalant's a real word. I just keep saying that. So like, if I'm making that up, like, Please don't make fun of me. But, or you can, whatever, I don't care. But like, I always just think of like nonchalant and chalant. Like, I don't know if chalant is like even, but whatever. But I wonder now, being on meds, like if I ever did fall for another nonchalant human, which unfortunately like keeps to be, that I'm trying to break that pattern. But if, you know, if I would not really experience that relationship OCD because I'm on meds, or if I would still experience it, just maybe less, more like mildly, because it's still there. It's still, my brain is still my brain, you know? And, but I feel like if I find someone who matches my energy just a little bit differently and a little bit better, that I won't experience that, because the constant need of reassurance was from the lack of something that I had gotten previously, you know, and then, or the lack of just in general from the other, like that first long-term relationship, you know, and then to the past one, which was in the beginning and then lacked, you know, which created those thoughts in my head, because he wasn't like that in the beginning, and he was very different in the beginning. He was very communicative in the beginning, and then he kind of like the lack of communication, the loss of compliments, the lack of just expressiveness, and just like how it all kind of, you know, and maybe, no, I'm not even gonna say it because I'm not gonna put it out there, but that's what, you know, triggered that relationship OCD. So it's like knowing that I have OCD and knowing what to maybe look out for, be careful for, knowing the type of person I need in my future, is somebody who is, you know, like that. How beautiful to finally understand yourself in a way that that's been missed for so many years, really can help you kind of move forward in life, like I said. So now I know what I need from a future partner. I know what I need to work on in self. I know that I took that step to get on medication and really help calm that thoughts. Like, I don't overthink. I still overthink, but it's nothing like it used to be. When I tell you debilitating, like, I mean debilitating, like to the point, like where I said earlier, like I couldn't work. I couldn't do anything except for think about whatever I was thinking about, which in this case was how this started, like how this even got diagnosed, was talking about my relationship and talking about these obsessive thoughts that I would have, like obsessive compulsive thoughts about him cheating and this and that. And when I opened up to my psychiatrist now about that, like, why are you here to get on meds? You know, I'm having this trouble in my relationship and this is what's happening. Okay, have you ever been diagnosed with OCD? No, let's evaluate you, take a test, whatever. Evaluation. What you're suffering from is a subtype of OCD. It's a relationship OCD, which is very common in relationship with people who have OCD. Is a subtype that can come forward when you're in a relationship that is lacking something that maybe you need. So like you're not getting, and then like when he would reassure me, it almost like it was like too late. Like my brain had already accepted that, like that was fake reassurance. Like I need to be reassured without being reassured and out asking for it, like in the future. Like I just need to be just constant, like I just need someone who is just, I just know, you know, I learned from that, but also learning from my diagnosis as well, you know? So, but like I said, I am curious now that if like being on meds and not really ruminating anymore and not having those like obsessive thoughts where I am so debilitated, you know, because it wasn't just like, it was not just in my relationship. Like it would be like when I would go hang out with my friends, okay? And like I would say something would happen, you know, whatever. I would think about that, like, oh my God, like, why did I do that? Why did I say that? Were they talking about me when I left? Like, what did they say about me when I left? It would really like, to break that, to be broken out of that and to not have those thoughts anymore has really been such a holy grail. And I've never been like a medication, you know, and like the medication I'm on is not meant to be on forever. So I do also like that. Like, it's meant to help reconnect and rebuild and in your brain so that you don't have to be on it forever, which is something that I would have been looking for if I ever did take that leap to get back on meds. So that was like kind of my motivation, you know, that hopefully when I get off this meds, that is something that will never happen again, and I will never have to deal with that. Because like, oh my God, when I tell you, when I don't think even I realized how debilitating it was, because now when I look back at what I dealt with and how my life was and how almost sad I felt for my past self, like what I endured and put myself through by not getting on medication earlier. But also, like, I was scared too, so we have to remember that. Like, I have to put that, I have to give myself grace with that, because I did have a bad experience the first time I did try to take meds. So it's like, but like, God, if I could have felt this way so much earlier and so much sooner in my life, like I could have saved myself from a lot of just spirals. You know, I just would spiral. And that was also like what led me into getting sober, because when you have OCD and you do substances like drink or other things, it intensifies thoughts that are already there. So when I would come down or like be hungover or like, you know, get the hangxiety, like it would be like, so what normal people experience hangxiety, I would experience like times 10. And like, or like, and the same thing with like when I would come down from anything, like if I would do any sort of substances, it would be like times 10 of a come down, because I would just ruminate and like thoughts and stuff. And I also have like a type of OCD where it's like, oh my God, I touched like, I don't even remember. I had an example and I totally just lost it because I was talking about something else. I'll think of it again, but like, you know, where it would be like, you'd be on a plane, for example, and you see them, like you would see a flap or something, you'd be like, oh my God, that flap doesn't look normal. I've never seen a flap on a plane like that. And then your brain like goes from, well, what if that flap falls off while we're flying? What if, and then like the plane goes down and then this and that. Like those like thoughts that I used to have, when I found out those were not how normal people thought, like normal people don't think things like that. Normal people don't have like thoughts like that. And I don't want to say like normal people in a negative way. I just mean people who have like good brains. Like shout out y'all who have amazing brains and don't overthink. Or like, oh my God, I have a pain in the side of my stomach. I've never felt that right there. Oh my God, what a weird spot. Oh my God, what if I'm having appendicitis? Oh my God, what if it's my rib? Like I broke a rib, or what if I bumped something and I blew like a blood vessel? Like it's like thinking like things like that where I never realized weren't like how everybody thinks and people things like that. So then like, you know, getting that to, you know, and so like learning about yourself and healing yourself and whatnot, and how debilitating it was to live like that, to now where I'm at now, being my meds working consistently and things being slowly better, like getting like actually like significantly better from where I was even just a couple months ago. I just really wish I would have like either known about it sooner or just like maybe like been guided to try. But everything happens for a reason. I wasn't meant to feel this way until now, you know, and it is beautiful, and I'm very grateful for the people like the psychiatrists and like whatnot that was working with me to help me and figure this out and give me resources about it so I could learn about learn about the diagnosis and the mental disorder. It's like a mental health condition itself about OCD, and learn about the subtypes of OCD and kind of really like pinpoint why I had been the way I had been for so long, and understanding self and knowing that future what I need differently, and future, you know, that I like cannot allow myself to be with people who are going to be nonchalant, because it's just not going to work. Even I feel like even being healed, so it doesn't re-trigger old pattern and old wounds and open that back up again, right? So I like know that in the future I need just something that's going to not even allow that to come back in a way, you know, like just like, okay, I don't even want those wounds or those like thoughts, or I don't want something to even trigger those old patterns back, you know, because I've been like, doing the work to fix it and straightening it out and not be so curved or so up and down. You know, I'm trying to be stable, so therefore I want to attract someone who also can kind of, you know, maybe like you don't have like not, and it's like as somebody who has mental health conditions and mental health disorders, you like are we ever going to be fully stable? I don't know. I want to believe that it is possible and is out there and doing the work and doing what, like, you know, you want to, like, I want to just attract more of like a consistent partner, somebody who is more expressive and constant, like you not necessarily like need to be stable, because sometimes like life and things happen in life too where you become unstable, and it's all about being there for people. And so I'm not saying like you have to be fully stable to be in a relationship again, but it's like there's like a consistent where you're showing up in the relationship, and there is like a, you know, when you're not, and like you can still be unstable and show up for someone, I feel like. And that was something that I struggled with understanding in my last relationship. You know, he would blame his like depression and like he couldn't show up for me, and like, but I had depression and I had like, and everybody works through things differently, and I understand that, but affected him not showing up. And it was just kind of like, it was just frustrating because I felt like I was still showing up for the relationship, and it was just like priority, and just needing to feel like a priority to someone. I never felt like a priority in that last relationship. I really like struggle, like, you know, and I just like know that like I just need someone who's a little bit more consistent. I need someone who is more expressive. I just need, I guess I learned a lot of what I need in a future partner from that last relationship. So there was benefits aside from the fact of just like trying to make something work with someone for so long that just like wasn't working, and trying to make someone who I thought they were because of who they presented in the beginning to like what they became, or maybe who they were the whole time, and just trying to get them back to what I want, you know, what I like, and just trying to change somebody, like I said earlier. It just like not change them, but trying to make somebody into something they're not. It never goes well, and it just unfortunately ends in like someone being disappointed. Whereas like I feel like also it was kind of the same way. Like I had to get sober for myself. Like I feel like he would like judge me like when I would go out and like whatever, and like who I would surround myself with. And I feel like I had to experience my own things and want to get sober for myself, because when I was just doing it for just him, when we would get into fights and whatnot, like I would relapse, or like, you know, or like relapse out of, not out of, I don't want to say this, relapse out of spite, but just be like, well, if we're not together, like what do I need to be sober for? Like I was being, you know. So when you put your sobriety on someone else, or like the goal is like that, like I feel like it doesn't work. So when I decided to get sober for myself, that was when it worked a little bit better. And I've had some relapses now with alcohol, but like other things, and like, but like, you know, reflecting and knowing that I've been doing really good, and I have the consistent is not drinking alcohol. I'm almost at a year with that, and I'm very, 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 very proud of myself. And just learning things about self while getting sober, and learning to deal with things, and like not putting it on a like someone else, because like they do recommend you kind of like not really be in relationships anyway. So when I was like trying to make something work that just wasn't working, on top of getting sober, it was just not helping my sobriety. So when that kind of like was officially done, and I kind of like really cut this, not only done, but cutting the strings from it, and, you know, doing a cord cutting with that, like, it really just solidified my stableness, and solidified, you know, because it was something so unstable and so inconsistent, and so like not something that I want. You know, I just want someone who just shows up a little bit more, and someone where I don't feel like I'm fighting for your attention all the time. I just want to feel important. In that relationship specifically, he was very like, he had steps, okay, for people. You know, it was his family, his friends, and then it was me. Whereas I view everyone on the same plane. My friends, my family, my boyfriend are all the same level of importance, where I was not in a tier, you know, and I was the lowest tier. And like, I need someone who kind of views everyone like, either like views it on like everyone on the same plane. I don't want to be fighting to be important, you know, or feel important or feel like a priority. And the way that, you know, so learning about relationship OCD, learning about OCD in general, and then like my specific subtype that does get triggered when I'm in inconsistent, unstable relationship. Learning about that and fixing my things and knowing what I need in a future partner, it has all been so beautiful and so eye-opening. And basically what, you know, I really wanted to talk about was just that in itself. You know, if you struggle with overthinking to the point where it does affect your everyday life, and you spiral and you ruminate and you can't let go of certain thoughts, either about something, someone, or situations, or like at a job, like, oh, I had a presentation at my job today, and I hate how I said it like that, or you know, like if you have those overthinking and overspiral thinkings, and you already have like a general anxiety disorder, and you're in talk therapy, and you feel like something's not clicking, something's not working, maybe talk to your psychiatrist, your provider, your doctor, whatever, your therapist, about getting you evaluated for OCD. And kind of like I said, it's frequently misdiagnosed. Talk therapy usually doesn't really work or help OCD. And so kind of finding other ways or other therapies. I'm still kind of learning that of it all. Kind of maybe discovering other things, on what to do. Obviously with moving, I've been so, you know, whatever, so busy, and so stuff like, but also being on meds has really helped. So I don't necessarily feel like I need something right now, because I feel so good, and I feel like my OCD has calmed down, or like my obsessive compulsive thoughts, my spirals. I don't really spiral anymore. I don't really overthink certain things. Like I don't think the thoughts that I've once had thought. I don't overthink like I do. I don't spiral, and I don't, you know, and like, I feel like sobriety has attested to that. Learning about my diagnosis has attested to that. Being out of an unstable, inconsistent, all over the place relationship has really helped that. And just showing up for myself has really helped that, kind of keep that OCD under, you know, control. So right now I don't feel like I need anything, but if you do have any questions, or you want some guidance about things that can help OCD, like other types of therapies, or maybe like other things, or maybe you want to learn more about the medication that I'm on, or just kind of just talk in general, if you do struggle with it, and you do struggle with, you know, and just like learning how to get out of thoughts, and how to distract self, and find hobbies, and, you know, whatever. Obviously everything's linked below on my email, my socials, everything is linked below. I would love to help people, especially like now knowing, I just know that like once you're self-aware, that's like the first step into fixing self and fixing something that's been such a reoccurring issue in your life for so long. You know, it's so nice, you know, to okay, now I can be better, do better, like, you know, and I want better, right? So it is really nice to just know. And so that's why I really wanted to talk about, like, I really wanted to do a whole episode about it today, and really kind of like talk about my experience, and how like there is beauty on the other end of it. So if you feel so trapped down by your thoughts and you're overthinking, like, there is beauty on the other end, and there is an end of the rainbow for us. And you do not have to live like that for the rest of your life. There is resources, there are things that can be done, and there can be like maybe you were misdiagnosed with just generalized anxiety or panic disorder, and like I was, and there were more subtypes, archetypes, branches that needed to be looked into, that can, once you kind of learn about, you can do your research and whatnot, and learn to help yourself. And that's the beauty of it all. It is a never-ending journey. especially when you have struggled with lots of things and trauma and just having a life in general, you know, having a life that others were maybe blessed to not have to experience, that you have to do the work to be better, you know, and it is never ending, and we have to be there for each other. So as that, I am here for you. If you ever need anything, like, you can always contact me below. And yeah, we're gonna end the episode on that today. Hopefully I can get everything set up pretty soon here so I can do a room/apartment tour for you guys, because I'm very excited to show you my new home, and just feel very so grateful and so happy, and thank you, universe, and thank you to my angels, and thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please leave a review. Give me some 5 stars, please. That helps push my podcast out there, and I just appreciate any of you who take the time to listen or watch this. You guys mean the world to me. I love you all so much, and I'm sending you so much love and light. And as I said before, I'm here for any of you who need any extra guidance, maybe just need someone to listen, because sometimes you just need someone to listen. I love you all so much. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your week, and I will see you soon. Bye.